Welcome back to the homestead, everybody. We are back up at the cabin and we are getting ready to install our off-grid fridge, our plumbing, and getting some firewood for the winter.
So we're going to connect this plug now up to the fridge. These 12-volt fridges don't come with a plug, so I've determined that the outlet is wired with the positive on the black, so I need to connect that with the red on the fridge, so I'm going to do that now. Once I get the plug plugged in, that will be set, and then it's a matter of connecting the positive and negative to the bus bars over on the in the utility closet. So yeah, we'll do that now. These little hold downs, I'll just pull these out so that I can secure the plug wire to the fridge so it's a little more rigid. Not like a conventional fridge where you get all the amenities of having a plug already installed and stuff, so yeah, just a little extra step. So that'll be fine. Start with the ground, that one's easy, green to green. We're just using marionettes. And once everything is good and I know everything's working, I'll put a little extra electrical tape around this and everything will be going well. So it has a label here, red positive and white is negative. On the way I wired it over on the utility closet was white is positive. So I'll put the white to the positive here. I know it's kind of misconstrued as far as wiring coloring goes, but the main thing is you get the positive to the positive and negative to the negative. And then I'm just making sure these are all good and tight. Give them a twist before you put the marionette on so it's nice and secure. Go. And then tuck that up in there so it'll secure all that. That way it won't get tugged out or anything like that. This is all wired up. Now I just have a conventional plug. I'll plug that into our 12-volt outlet, which we did all in this chocolate brown, just so I knew which ones were which. And but before I go plugging this in, I'm going to connect the wires to the bus bar. So I'll show you how to do that. So we're just going to strip back some wire. That negative out of the way, or sorry, the ground out of the way. That's one thing about 12 volts there. Don't need that ground. And then we're going to strip this back about an inch, for those that prefer metric, about 25 millimeters. That'll be enough to secure it into the terminal on the bus bars. So again, we have this wired, and I wrote it down here so I remembered. Negative is black, positive is white. So the positive wire needs to go over to the red bus bar there, and the negative needs to go over to this negative bus bar. So I'll remove the covers on that. And then it's going to get a bit dark in here because I'm going to shut the battery off, but there's no power to these. So the last thing I want to do is have an electric shock to start the weekend. Okay, so let's turn that light off. Let's make a little loop there that will hold it in. Put the washer on top. The lock washer. And the nut. Secure that down. With the positive, so I'll put the cover back on that. Wait, just in case there is still power there. I didn't test it, so just in case there is still power there, that'll stop my wrench from touching positive to negative. And then we'll do the negative. Go. Put that down. Put that cover back. Good. Now, turn your battery back on. Let it do its little cycle up. Turn the charge controller back on. Let it do its cycle up. Its thing. Despite how overcast it is, we're actually charging the battery right now, which is nice. Good. Now we are going to get a voltage tester and we will test the outlet to make sure we got 12 volts over there, and then we can plug the fridge in. Hope for the best. So I have the switch here and confirm that this is on. So now we go over here and check to see if we have 12 volts. Just doing that with the voltage tester. Yeah, so we have 12.3 volts at the outlet. Now we can plug the fridge in and see what happens. There we go. It's working. I can hear it running. Lights come on, that's a good thing. No more buying ice. We now have an off-grid fridge running 12 volt from our 48 volt battery with the converter. And I just have it set. There's a few different settings here on this fridge. Convenient. It's got two different cold settings for off-grid. And so right now I have it set on the colder of the two off-grid settings. It can go a lot colder if needed, but we'll start it like that and see how it goes. I'm now going to drill some holes through the studs so that I can run the hot and cold water. Right about where I'm standing is going to be where the water pump, and our temporary solution for water would be some blue camping water jugs. That'll be right where I am. We're going to put those inside my corner cabinet. And then approximately here is where our sink will be. So I'm just running the wire, hot and cold lines over to that. I've already drilled through the other studs along here, and we'll be running PEX pipe. It just it handles, you know, possible freezing if we don't get the lines completely dried out in the winter, better than copper. And they also are easier to run, you know, flexing them through the walls if needed. Okay, guys? So yeah, I'm just going to do that now. So I went along and marked all the studs so I kind of keep them all equal distance from the floor. This will be the cold water feed line for the toilet that we eventually put in here. I'll just Just running the lines for that over to where they need to be. Making sure obviously that I don't hit any electrical lines. Like I said, we're going to use 1/2-inch hex piping throughout, and so that's pretty easy. I've worked with it before using crimp fittings and all the hex fittings for that, so that'll hopefully go well. That's a little bit of a project that I plan on working on today. Yeah, so I've started to run the hot hex line. We went with red, just just the hot water. I'm going to make a T fitting here to feed a shut off for the sink. That'll be right here, and then I'll do a T fitting here as well. That'll go up here to where we eventually have a propane powered water heater, on-demand water heater, and then from there it will feed over and around to the shower. And so yeah, that'll work out well. I think we should be able to run the cold in next. I ran the hot water on the top and the cold will go on the bottom. That way the hot air rises, it doesn't heat up your cold water. Just a little tip that I read one time. Anyways, I'll show you how that goes. We're using the crimp fittings. These are pretty straightforward shark pipe fittings.
So for the first fitting, I'll show you how that goes. This will
have the crimping
be
tool here.
the in feed for the hot water from the hot water, the tankless hot water tank.
Cool about doing that.
And so anyways, just make sure you put your fitting on first, then position that about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch from the end of the pipe. Get the crimp tool onto the crimp ring, and here you can see I'm about 1/8 of an inch, and then you just want to press down firmly on the crimp tool till it fully releases, and that's it. You've crimped it. It should be very rigid. The crimp ring should look nicely squashed like that, and you're done. And so then I'll just push that back in there so I can eventually run the vertical line and use some stud anchors for that. Next we'll put the another T fitting in here, and this will run hot water to the bathroom sink. Again, make sure the fittings or the crimp rings go on first, and just press these on. It slides on pretty simply. If you've already have a section there, make sure that's vertical before you go and crimp that other half. Again, just get the crimp tool onto the crimp ring and positioned about 1/8 of an inch from the end of the pipe. 2 hands usually on the tool and all the way down, squeeze it, and that's it. That's done. Nice and simple, easy to use, goes really quickly once you get the hang of it. And that's it for this one. This is the end of the run for the hot water, so this will be feeding the kitchen sink where it'll eventually be. And so for that I'll just need a 90-degree fitting just to extend the hot water out through the wall. And you'll see later on in the video I eventually add a little 4 to 6 inch section of PEX piping onto the end of that. So this run here is going to feed hot water to the shower, so that'll be exciting to have an actual shower up there. So far the lake's the shower, so actually having a hot shower would be nice after some of these hard days in the bush, or just, you know, swatting mosquitoes or whatever it happens to be. But anyways, yeah, this 90-degree elbow, this will allow me to run the hot water up to the shower mixing valve. So that's just putting that on there, placing it vertical, and then crimping it on. So here at the bathroom sink outlet, I'll add a short length of pipe, which will extend through the eventual wall covering material. And so once the insulation is on and the wall covering is on, I'll add the shut off valves to each point of use. Kind of approximating the length of pipe I need here for the tankless hot water heater. We're not sure on which tankless hot water heater we're going with yet. Obviously an indoor one, but dimensions not sure, so we'll get it approximately that high. And here I'm just using some wall anchors to secure the pipe to the framing, just so it it can be run vertical and it doesn't wiggle around or hammer under pressure. So I've done the same over here for the shower, and the vertical pipe will run the hot water up to the mixing valve. It's 48 inches off the floor, and I've just left that fitting loose. We don't have the mixing valve yet for that, but I got the stub out done there, and I've done the one over in the kitchen as well. And so next you can see I'm on to a little short vertical pipe that will let me lower the elevation of the cold water, and that will get the height of the cold water going over to the toilet to 8 inches off the floor, which is basically code for that. So I'm just working beside this stud here for the bathroom wall, just made crimping these fittings a little easier, and eventually you'll see I'll slide the whole pipe along and then connect it to the feed line that heads out towards the toilet. But for now it's just a matter of 90-degree down here set to head you in the right direction, and yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. I'll crimp that on, and then I'll connect and the cold water going through those holes that I've pre-drilled in the framing. So I'm just left with this one pain in the butt fitting to get at, but I was able to get it secured, and it should be watertight. And then that's it. That's done. I'll give you a little walk down of the entire system. Okay, so I have the plumbing done now. The cold lines have been run. This is the cold line feed to the sink. You notice I don't have shut-offs yet. Once we get the wall paneling on, I'll put the shut-offs on. But I had the stub outs for that. So then the cold water feeds over. You see here where we have a T-fitting and then a 90-degree elbow at the bottom. That will be where our water pump goes. The 12-volt outlet to its right will power the water pump and feed this system. And then carrying on, moving down into the bathroom. You saw me connecting up the line going to the toilet. Yeah, so again, no shut off yet, but I have the crimp bit shut offs for that when the wall coverings are done. This is the shut off, or the cold water for the sink that will be right here. Hot water I had already shown you before. Cold water feed line for the on-demand propane powered hot water. And From there, over to the shower. And alcove shower, it'll have a shower head up top here and a mixing valve here. We don't have any of that yet, so I'm just leaving these all stubbed out like this for now. But
thanks for watching, everybody.
pretty
I hope
close
you found
to
this
get
helpful.
it. Lets us
Please
get us
remember to like
to the
and
point where we can
subscribe, and
insulate.
we'll see you next
So that's
time.
awesome. Looking forward to that. Thank you.